Hey, good evening. I am back. Renee is back. It is Sunday, and my week has been a week. Man, I hope you've had a good week. I hope everything went in your favor, and you're still here, so that means you're still blessed. Let us open up with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. The ones who struggling inside the walls, outside the walls. My God, okay. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's celebrating Clean Time today, birthday today. The ones who celebrate 6 months, 9 months, 30 days, 6 months, a year, and multiples of years. Congratulations to you. I want to also give a shout out to all the treatment facilities, the recovery houses all over the world, the transitional living houses, to help people get their lives back on track, to the men's and women's recovery houses, to the counselors, to the therapists. You know, I take my hat off to you all. You all is doing a great job. Continue to do that. Continue to learn what you can through your counselors, to get you the help that you need while you're in treatment. And for the ones that are still struggling, I'm still praying for you. I want you to know that you are never alone, and you can do this when you surrender and look back over your life and see where you were and where you want to go, and make that effort. So for the ones who are struggling and the ones that really want to get clean and in and out, you got to get yourself together sooner or later, you know, or either you're going to die or your life is going to be complicated over and over again. Okay, so today we are on step. Oh, let me say this before I forget. For the ones, I need that heat off, Renaya. For the ones that, anybody who have lost a child, a mother or father, cousin or nephew, uncles, anybody that you have lost due to addiction, to this disease of addiction, you know, I'm keeping you in my prayers, you know, because I lost a son due to addiction, and I could have died in the midst of the addiction, but somehow I still made it. And for the parents or the mothers and fathers who's struggling this Christmas year without your son or your daughter, niece or nephew, somebody that was close to you, don't give up. Keep going. You know, keep striving to talk to your kids and your other grandkids about this disease or these drugs, and it's taking over the world. These drugs is killing our kids, our peoples, our mothers and fathers. You know, so I just take my hat off to you, because I lost a son, so I know this Christmas year I'll miss him again, and it ain't easy, you know, when we lose a child or a mother or a father or a sister or a brother. So just keep doing what you're doing, and stay strong. And it'll all work out. I know. I'm here to tell you so. You know, so, I see my sisters on here, Selena, Evangelist Selena Green. Y'all should go see her. She's on Tuesday night, and she gives the word to conquer your spirit and your body and your mind. And I'm her biggest fan. And she always feed me good for the soul. And we always need something that's going to feed our souls. So anyway, I thank y'all so very much. Tuesday she come on. Go give her some support. Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Okay, so now we are on step 5, y'all. You know I love my steps. Man, I love my steps. These steps has been good to me. These steps have never left me feeling alone, never left me feeling hopeless, never left me feeling counted out. And so that it works for you and it'll work for me. And thank God for the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program, because it's a program that is maintained and does its job, and it shows you your worth. It shows you that you are capable to be anything you want to be. You're capable to do the things that you cheated yourself out of doing, so recovery is good. And I love recovery. I love being in recovery. I love allowing myself some freedom for a change. So we are on step 5, and step 5 is we are admitted to God and to ourselves and to other human beings the exact natures of our wrongs. And this step opens some doors for a lot of people, and I definitely opened some doors for me, because I when I came to know God and understand God for myself, not for you, but for myself, I had to admit to Him, and I had to talk to Him and hold a whole conversation many days, many nights, because I was lost. I was in this world of being lost. Couldn't find myself, didn't know what I was doing. All I know, I was tired, and I kept on getting high, and I kept on being hard-headed. And, so when I learned that I could talk to God, and He's a person that wasn't going to judge me. The God of my understanding don't do no judging. So He was the person that opened the doors for me to communicate with Him, and to admit that I had many problems. I had to admit that my life had just crumbled. And I had to find a way to get a connection and keep that connection and talk to Him about everything that I was going through, because He's a man that don't let you down. He's a man that don't judge you. He's a man that helps and heal you and clean you up and fix you up and start molding you back together again. So I had to admit to the God of my understanding, I'm done. Help me get out of this situation. And I promise you I'll never get back in this situation. Not due to drugs and alcohol or any kind of drug substance. This is a disease. And we talk about the disease. This is a disease. Hey, Miss Johnson, we talk about disease of an addiction. And we have not just the drug addiction, but many addictions come with the drug addiction, and we pick up many addictions because of the drug addiction, so we get lost in that. We start picking up all kind of addictions and start doing all kind of things because of the disease of an addiction. And I hate this disease, because this disease is cunning, baffling, and very powerful. And it will have you on your knees. It will have you feeling lost. It will have you not loving yourself. It will have you doubting yourself. It'll have you feeling bad about yourself and your situation. So I know, but I had to. I was at a point in my life that I needed to do something different. I needed to know who I was. I needed to find Renee again. You need to find yourself again. Somewhere in that addiction that I was doing and using drugs, it was a little girl inside of me asking for help. I needed that help. And when I got to the point where I just couldn't do it no more, then I had to surrender. I had to just surrender everything. I couldn't hold this and save a little, or save a little and hold that. But honey, when we started admitting to God, God started opening doors that we thought was going to be closed forever or was never going to be able to open again. But he opened them doors for us to get to help. And so we had to admit to God. And then the other person, come on, Renee, the other person that I had to admit, I see you, sis. I see you. The other person that I had to address and have a conversation with was me. I had to address me. This dress is about talking things over with yourself and another human being. What we did wrong, what caused us to use drugs, what caused us to keep drinking, what caused us to keep shooting up, what caused us to keep snorting, doing the crack. So much drugs out there and alcohol, out there, and it's still out there. It's still doing what it's supposed to do. It ain't changed. It still ain't nothing changed. Only thing changed, I don't use or you don't use. Only thing changed, we working on our addictions. Only thing changed, we trying to change this mind, how we programmed it to use drugs and use peoples and use ourselves. And now we have to reprogram that brain of ours to where we want to get it clean it up. You heard what I said, clean it up. And we get to a point in our lives to where, I had to talk to other people. I had to get butt naked honest. It ain't easy. People think it's easy, but once you start doing it, you won't stop. I'm at a place in my life, I tell my story, I tell on my disease, I tell you how I'm feeling, I tell you what I went through, I tell you anything I need to tell you that's gonna free me. See, I'm important today. I used to didn't be important. I remember when I used to sell drugs. I remember when I used to get out there and had all these girls working for me. I was something else. I wasn't, I wasn't nothing nice. Hey, Keith, honey, how you doing? And I had to learn. I had to learn a lot of things about me, and when I was, even when in my selling drugs, I thought I was on top of the world. I thought you couldn't, I was untouchable. But something happened to me. You know what happened to me? The drugs I was giving to somebody else, I became the user. And when I became the user, that's when my life started to crumble. When I tell you it started to crumble, my life didn't make no sense no more. I had to talk to God and tell God, all about my inner feelings, all about my feelings, all about my fears. I had to come to him, I had to clean the sheets off one at a time. You can't do it all in one day because you didn't become an addict all in one day. We kept using. So I had to understand that when I started admitting to God and to myself and to peoples that meant something to me in this circle, that's why I said we admitted to God and to ourselves, and the number one person that I had to get butt naked honest with was me. I had to get honest with me. I had to know that if I don't stop using, eventually I'm going to die. Simple. I'm going to die if I don't stop using. Drinking. Hey, Deanna. Drinking. Diana. Drinking, using. I did everything. I was a person that, anything that made me feel good, I went with it. And that I had to, when I started to surrender, and in this step it says I admitted everything. No more secrets. Cleaning out the closet. No more secret, because my life has been a secret. I was holding secrets, carrying secrets. I didn't like who I had became, because that is not what my mother raised. And yeah, my mother was very disappointed in me, my lifestyle. She didn't like it because she didn't bring me up that way. So I had to start working on Renee. I had to find a way to get a connection with God where he can pull me in and I can receive him without feedback, without him judging me, without him looking down on me. You know, and that's what I love about God, because he wants us to have the best, to give ourselves the best. He don't want us to have to worry and live in fear and be disappointed in ourselves over and over again. Sometimes our failures, sometimes the things that we created for ourselves that wasn't good, when you really look at it, when you really get butt naked honest, to be honest and tell the truth, you start to feel something different. I can only talk about me. You start feeling something different. You know, I remember when I went into treatment, and I remember seeing my friends in there, and I remember seeing people that I used to get high with, or people that sold drugs for me. So I had two kind of friends, the ones that bought drugs for me and the ones got on drugs that I smoked with or I drank with. You know, and when I got in treatment, you know, I started going in there hanging my head down, and God had to tell me that ain't why you in here. You know, that ain't, you know, get off that pity pot, start fixing the situation that you created that messed your life up. You know, and I thought when I went in that I wasn't going to make it back out. I thought I would go back and use. Because you remember I told y'all in the others, on my other broadcast, I was telling y'all how I struggled with even going into treatment. How I went to the door and turned around 2 or 3 times. You know, because Satan was trying to take me this way and God was trying to take me the straight way through them doors. And I surrendered to him. And I'm so glad, because had I not surrendered to him, I wouldn't be here today talking to you all. I wouldn't have the years of letting go of something that took over my life. And I had many addictions. You know, y'all know me. Y'all done heard me. And for the new ones that's coming on, you know, you beginning to know me. I hold no punches. I tell it like it is, because it was a time that I couldn't talk. It was a time that all I did was use to live and live to use. And that was the atmosphere that I knew I had to change. You know, I came to a part to where I had to work on myself. I had to deal with me. I had to understand what made me go to drugs. I know what made me go to drugs, but I had to find a reason why I kept staying with the drugs. How drugs had took my life over, y'all. Took it over. And I had to get an understanding and admit to God, God, I need help. You know, I'm not perfect. And he knows we're not perfect. And I'm not perfect, God, but it's some things in me I need to change. The way I think, the way I act. You know, how I'm an impulsive person. You know, I need to work on these things that took me to the drugs and kept me in using the drugs. And so once I started being honest and went into treatment, you know, treatment was the best thing that ever happened to me other than being born. You know, I never knew about a 12-step. I never knew about this disease of drug addiction. I never knew about the 12 steps. I never knew about the NA meetings, NA for Narcotics Anonymous. I never knew about CA for Cocaine Anonymous. I never knew about AA for Alcoholic Anonymous. I never knew that until I was introduced by a yellow page book. And I turned that page. God told me to turn that page. He said, baby, turn that page. And the first page I turned, you know, I tell y'all all the time, that was Northwest General Hospital. And I went in treatment. And I went in treatment for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. I needed to get help. I needed to find myself where I can free myself from some things that had been hindering me all my life. when I was raped and how, I sold drugs and how I hurt people and how people's hurt me, so I had to get honest and I had to not be scared or fearful of the change that I was finna make, that God was finna put in my life. Cause he said, I'm finna take you to places you ain't never been. I'm gonna take you to the highest place in your life. And you can get higher and higher, or you can get lower or lower. And I've been to the lowest now. I've been to the lowest. So I had to get somewhere real quiet. And I remember telling my sister, I need to go in treatment. And when I come back out, your husband can't be here, because they were living with me. I said, your husband can't be here, baby. When I come out of treatment for these 28 days, he cannot be here. And she was like, why? I said, because he used crack just like me. He used cocaine just like me. He smoked weed just like me. And Selena, when I get out, I got to come back to a clean environment. I got to come back better than when I left. And she said, what? He using drugs? My sister was very senile about that. I said, yeah, that's why you can't keep no money. That's why you don't have no money. Every time you get money, don't you notice you don't have it no more? Because me and him smoke together. So when I come home, you and your kids can stay with me. But he got to go. And I was very serious. He got to go. And she knew I was serious too. I said, so if that means you got to move, then I'm sorry, sis. But I cannot come back going in treatment, getting myself together, and come back right back in the trap. I cannot do it to me. When I made God a promise, and I made it a promise, and that's over 35 years ago, going on 36, that I was never going to use again. And I kept that, and I'm standing on that. And anybody can do what they want to. I ain't got to drink because you drink. I ain't got to get high because you get high. I'm standing on mine. So I know where I come from. I remember. If any of y'all can go back down memory lane, have you ever just went back down in memory lane and all of a sudden start thinking about the things that God took you out of? God was with you when you went through that car accident because you were up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Do you remember when you was laying on your deathbed and they heard the doctor tell them to call their mama? My mama had to be called because I had caught meningitis. My brain had swollen. I was real sick. And I remember humbling, asking God while I was on the table, asking God to come in. Come in, God, in the room. Come in. I don't want to die. Can't nobody hear me, but I don't want to die. I didn't want to die. I wanted to change. I wanted to change. I was tired of living like that. I was tired of having something, then it went to nothing. I was tired of not taking care of my body and not combing my hair, not even wanting to wake up. So I had to admit to God some things, y'all. And sometimes when we get by ourselves, that's why a lot of people's like being in peace or being by themselves or being in their own room, because they can get a clear answer from God. They can do clear thinking, getting themselves together. But if you don't change, ain't nothing gonna change. Ain't nothing gonna change unless you change it. I drank every day. That's why I lost the kidneys, due to my drinking and drugging. But I had to surrender and I had to admit to God, I messed up. But all while that journey of me using and me allowing myself to fall, I kept falling, until I got to the bottom. And then when I got to the bottom, I realized something. I need to get back to the old Renee. The Renee that cared about peoples. Renee that loved herself. Renee that, would want nobody else to go through what she going through. Hey, Robert, I didn't want that. So I had to learn how to change. See, if y'all don't change, y'all gonna stay stuck. I got some people right now that's struggling, trying to, and one of them is real close to my heart. And I got to help get her into treatment. She said, I'm ready, Miss Renee. I got to get her in some help because I love this girl. Took her up under my wings years ago. Her and my daughter around the same age, and I love her dearly. And for her to ask me for help said a lot. Because sometimes when we get tired of being tired, and we look back, and the good part about it is that, when I first got clean and went into treatment, and I was talking to God, I said, God, I can't go around all them people that I sold drugs to. I can't go around all them people, say he started working on me, start trying to make me doubt myself or doubt why I went into treatment. But I went into treatment to save myself. You got to do it for yourself. You can't do it for nobody else. And people's come in treatment and they do it for their husbands or their girlfriends or their mama. Because see, mama and your husband and your sisters and brothers and nieces and nephews can't save you. When you clock out, you clock out. When you keep using drugs or keep drinking, it's going to eventually kill you. Or you're going to hear some news that's going to take you out slowly. Slowly. That's, when I look back over my life and what I was doing was slowly committing suicide. Slowly now. We were slowly dying. I had picked up all these different addictions. And the main one that I wanted to shake first was the drugs and alcohol. Acid, you name it. I did it all. I'm only here by the grace of God. I know that. I don't need nobody to tell me that. When I admitted to God, I gave up all my rights to keep hurting myself. I said, you got to come in and clean out this closet and let me get rid of the pain. Well, why can't you? People say, you can stop if you want to. Well, if I could, if I knew how to, I wouldn't have kept using. But when I learned about this disease called addiction, when I learned about how it would turn your life upside down, when I learned about how it would take the ability of the knowledge and the good person you was and make you this ugly, bitter person. When I understood the chemicals that we put in our bodies have us craving and wanting another drink. I used to could sit there and let a drink sit in my refrigerator and tell God I ain't touching that no more. I ain't bothering that drink no more. It seemed like soon as something happened that discouraged me, as soon as something bad happened, the first excuse I used, let me go in there and get that drink. Let me go get high. I was running all my life. Running, smoking, drinking, partying, selling drugs, doing all kind of things. Anything anybody can think of, I did it. And for God to turn my life around and the 12-step program, the 12 steps tell me I can't use no matter what happened. The 12-step program told me whatever situation that you're going through, you got to talk to somebody. You got to find somebody that you can talk to, another human being, and talk to that person and tell that person of your wrongs and what I've done and how I went from this to that and how that became this. So you have to be honest when you're dealing and working an honest program. And I feel sorry for the people that go back. I feel sorry for the people. But the most gracious gift is when I see you come back. When I see that you made it back. Because see, a lot of my friends didn't make it back. A lot of my friends that I got high with, drank with, partied with, had sex with, whatever the situation was, they're not here. So something in me had to click to where I had to start pulling God in as my friend, as my habit. I needed this man. I needed the God of my understanding. You heard what I said when I said of my understanding. Because everybody don't understand God like I do. Everybody don't know God like I do. But honey, when you look back over your life and when you look back and see all the things that he brought you out of, how you don't even know you got out of that situation. But when I go back and that's why I always tell you I'm patient. I'm very grounded. When I say something, I mean it. When I walk away, I'm gone. That's just been me. Since I've been clean, I have no tolerated. I cannot tolerate nobody hurting me. And you shouldn't tolerate nobody hurting you all. We come too far in life. That's why this step means so much to me, because I can talk about all my wrongs that I've done. I can talk about everything that I've done that I didn't like and I kept using behind it. The reason why I couldn't stop using, first of all, it felt good. And to be honest, first of all, it felt so good. I was chasing something that was never going to be from the first time I took a hit. It was never going to be the same. So I've been chasing. I was chasing and looking for that same high that I got before. And the drinking. I took that first drink and I was funny and feeling good and laughing all over the place. And then all of a sudden, it felt good. I ain't had to think about nothing. I ain't had to feel no pain. And, I can release, the things that I was feeling. And so the first reason why I got high, because it felt good. We as recovering addicts, we are very, good peoples. God didn't make bad people. We are very good people. We create the bad in us. We recreate the wrongs that we brought into our life. We create the company that we kept or the peoples we allowed to come in our lives and turn our lives around. But we gave them permission. That's why my house and my corner or my space is very small. Because I've been around a big crowd all my life. I had to stand out. I had to show off. I had to do this. I'm big baller. I'm the queen of everything. And he had to break me down. He had to break me down. And when he started breaking me, the chains started falling. All the chains that had me tied up and screwed up, they started coming apart. When I started talking to God and I got into that 12-step program and I noticed all them chains I was carrying was getting a little bit lighter. Hey, James. Oh, a little bit lighter. Because peoples can go there. Peoples, and I don't understand when peoples know, I don't understand when peoples know that we clean. They push our buttons. They hurt us on purpose. They totally disrespects us. They uses us and they know we givers, because most addicts that I know, including myself, I'm a recovering addict now, but back then I was an addict coming to get recovered. You can't. I just thank God, because the things that I did, I had to admit to him. He said we admitted to God. They said we admitted. I had to admit it. He already knew. Don't think he didn't know. He already knew, but he wanted us to admit it. He wanted to hear it out of our mouths. He wanted to hear us say, I'm tired. God, please help me. I can't do this no more. I just can't do this no more. This drinking is getting high, and he's popping these pills and having, I did it all. I did it all. Thank you, baby. I did it all. And so when I look back over our lives, when we look back over our lives, you got something to be grateful for. Because he pulled us out of a lot of things. when I talk to other peoples and to other human beings about how we was in the darkness, how we stayed at the bottom, how we went without, how we abused ourselves, how we neglected ourselves, I ain't going there. I can't handle it. I cheated myself many years, using, manipulating, and premeditating, and falsifying and lying. Man, I could have been an actor, because I can change. Ooh, y'all just don't know. Some of y'all know. James know. Keith know. My sister know. Diana know. Hey, Cynthia. Good to see you. But when we come into a change, this is where it get tricky. You can't use no more. You get clean. We admit it to God and to ourselves. Our problems. What we did. What we didn't do. What we could have did. And then we start talking to other peoples. I like James, he on there. Me and James used to talk all the time. We both was in recovery. He was my best friend. Still my best friend. And me and him used to talk about all the things that God had done for us. But let me tell you what happened when we went in treatment. When we went in treatment and we started getting clean, man, skin started getting better. I remember my mama told me one day I looked like a big old black gorilla. Because I had turned dark from all the drugs and the alcohol and the pills, And when I came into treatment, I noticed that my light started shining. The skin got smoother. I felt better about myself. One day at a time now. And I kept wanting to see when they said stay until the miracle happened to see what the change gonna be. I was the change. We make a change in life. Some of us forget where we come from. Some of us can't forget where we come from. And I remember when I went in treatment, I remember crying and I remember telling God, and they said I had to write God a letter. This was one of our assignments. It said I had to write God a letter. I had to tell God why I wanted to stop using. I had to write a letter to God as if he was sitting right there in front of me. And I'll tell you, the therapist that I had was Sterling White, who I love very much. And just seeing him was the best counselor that was in the right time in my life to help me get my life together. And when I went into treatment, they said, write this letter to God and admit to him and say things and tell him on your disease and tell him why you can't use no more. And some people wrote the letter and they was just done. Oh, I'm finished. I'm done. I'm on my 4th day. I'm still writing. Sterling asked me, you still writing? I said, I'm still writing. I got a whole lot to say to this man. I got a whole lot of things I need to tell him that I'm sorry about. I got a whole lot of things to tell him why I can't use no more. And on the 6th day, I had finished. And I remember when we got in class, he said, now, some of y'all got 1 page, some of y'all got a half a page, some of you got 2 or 3 pages. He said, I got 190 pages from Miss Renee. That's how sad I was. That's how I knew that I needed to get clean. I knew that I didn't want to die. I knew when I admitted to God that I didn't want to die. I needed to change my life to see some goodness come out of it. And I remember after 28 days leaving there, I remember I felt like I was on the top of the world. Because I remember Sterling telling me when I was getting ready to pack up and leave, he said, Renee, you gonna make it. He said, the sky is unlimited. He said, the sky is unlimited. And them words stuck with me. I did it all for the drugs. I gave the drugs the best of me. I gave the drugs all of me. Where everybody used me, everybody hurt me, everybody walked over me. So I let the drugs take over my life. I hate this disease. Because I done lost a lot of friends and we still losing friends of overdoses, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin. You know, and so when I got to the point, when I got ready to leave, guess what? I didn't want to leave. I got scared. I turned around and I started crying. I was literally scared for the first time of my life. I was scared to go out them doors into the real world. And Sterling talked to me. He said, Renee, God gonna do wonders for you. He said, you've been in mine. You've been in inpatient 9 months and you still don't want to leave. He said, but you gotta go. He said, you gotta spread your wings. No, you gotta spread your wings and fly. Say, you gotta spread them. Yes, you're gonna miss your blessings. And so when it said we admitted to God and to ourselves, I had to have a talk with me. Okay, Renee, you done always let yourself down. You always been running from everything. You always kept using. You always use your pain for your escape to use. You always keep telling yourself you're going to stop and you don't stop. What you going to do now? Okay, come on, let's, what you going to do now? What you going to do? You going to be true to your word? You going to stop using no matter what? Or you going to come back out the same way you went in? I had to, no, I'm not. I am not. I'm not ever using again. When I walked at that door, it was a done deal. I threw my hands up and said, God, you know what? It's a done deal. What I learned in that treatment facility at Northwest General Hospital on Capitol Drive, I knew it was a done deal. Wasn't no stopping me. You know, when I admitted to myself and talked to myself, and then I started talking to another person about the wrongs, like Sterling, like James, like Anita, like Karen, the counselors. Boy, we had some good counselors back then. Good counselor. Didn't play. Didn't care if you cried. Didn't give you no napkin. Feel it all. And when I came out, the sky was unlimited. Couldn't touch me. Came out, having the faith that I wasn't going to ever use again. Found the foundations of the 12-step of Ananias program. And I went to meetings, 90 meetings, 90 days. And I'm still go to meetings. I found something that was worth keeping in my life. And that was freedom. Freedom of pain, freedom of fear, freedom of doubt, freedom of pain. I found something that I could truly keep, that can call it my own. But it was the way I was going to hold it, to carry it, and let it be a part of my journey. No more alcohol. No more drugs. No more, all the ugly things that I didn't like about me. You know, I remember telling y'all when I got shot in my face right here, you can't hardly see it because I got the makeup on. Every day that I look into the mirror and I get ready to cover the scar that was left for me for life, it's a blessing. Because I got that when I was up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And I learned that, when I got shot, I was so high and had been drinking. And every time I go into a mirror, in a club, at the 12 steps, wherever I see a mirror, it's a reminder of how blessed I am. Under the influence of drugs, shot with a .357, ear cut off, blowed this whole hole open. Now you tell me, why would I want to go back to the thing that took over my life and caused me so much pain? Didn't care about my feelings, didn't care about I was hurting, didn't care about I was drowning, didn't care about I hit rock bottom. I mean, you couldn't go no further. Why would I want to go back? Why would I want to go back and hurt myself all over again? Oh, it messed up my body. Messed me up emotionally, mentally, and physically. So now I'm to the point where now I got to talk to other people's, I'm clean now and I don't want to go back and use. And the urges is really bad on me. The urges want me to drink. The urges want me to go back and use. The urges want to capitate me and pull me in and let me struggle all over again. Not I, not me, not James. Man, we went through something. Even with James, he know my life. He know my life. I know his. Why would I want to go back? Do y'all know what kind of week I had? Do you know what kind of week you will have? Do you know how many couple of weeks you will have that's pulling you to go back? That want you to take a drink because your heart is heavy or things is wrong, or seem like when one thing happened, here come another one, here come another one, here come another one. But then I had to remember they said no matter what we can't use. That's the whole key about staying clean. No matter what happens in your life, who breaks your heart, who leave you, who hurts you, no matter how your kids disrespect you, no matter how they go to jail, no matter how anything happens, we can't use no matter what. And I stand on that. I stand on that. Nobody would ever realize the hurt that we recovering addicts carry. And we can't use no more. We can't use. If I use, I won't be back. If I use, I will never come back. First of all, I would be too ashamed to come back. Okay, I like all these possibilities that I'm throwing y'all. If I go use, I would be too ashamed to come back. The second, I couldn't face everybody that I helped along the way that believed in me and was praying for me. I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with going back and staying out there and doing the things, having sex, oh Lord, I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom. All I know, I will never go back. All I know, I'm not using. I keep my safe. You have to keep a safe environment and be careful who you invite into your house. Be careful who you invite into your space. Because everybody is not for you. Some people's come in your life to hurt you. Some people's come in your life for power stroke. Some people's come in your life to disrespect you. Some people's come into your life to degrade you. Some people's come into your life to play games. You know, if I go back, I will let all that come right back into my life. Now, would you want that? I don't want it. I'm not accepting it. If you can't like me for who I am and accept me, because now you're getting the best of me. Now you're getting the best of James. Now you're getting the best of Selena. Now you're getting the best of Cynthia. Now you're getting the best of Keith. If you don't like what we know, what we became, due to drugs and alcohol, then you're not for me. And I'm okay walking away. I used to run away and walk away all the time. But now I don't do that. If I feel it, if something is going wrong, if I smell it, or if I think it, I'm gone. You won't even know I'm gone. You'll know I'm gone physically, but you wouldn't know that I'm truly, truly gone. God has been good to us. We admitted to God. I had that talk with God. I know the recovering addicts all over the world that had a conversation with God many times. Many, many, many times. Many times. And then we admitted to God and to ourselves. We can't fool ourselves. I couldn't fool me. I had to be honest with me. I've been fooling myself all my life when I was using. I've been lying to myself all while I was using. I've been lying to myself while when I was doing all the mess I was doing. I was lying to myself, premeditated thinking, using how I'm going to get one more, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that, just to get one more hit, just to get one more pull, just to get one more high. And then I had to talk to other people that was like me. People that's human beings that can understand our destination of where we was and where we at today. I can't deal. I can never go back. I would hurt myself. I would destroy myself. I just can't go back. When I get the calls and people's done used and people's done died and they go and they went back, I'm disappointed. But you have to remember this is a disease. It can pull you and grab you at any given time. Sometimes we look for excuses to go back and use. I ain't looking for none. I'm dealing with it all. I'm not breakable no more. You know, sometime in our life we get so broken that we just broken. I was broken. But when God came into my life and the 12-step program, and this step 5 helped me. When God came into my life, He helped mend the pieces back together. So I'm not broken no more. You can't break me no more. You just can't. I don't know what kind of creature He put in me. But when I got clean to save my life. And I want to stay clean till the day I die. And if I have to be alone to do it, and I know I'm never alone because God is always with me. And I have my kids. I love my kids. They keep me young. They keep me moving. They keep me nurtured. They keep me looking at them and listening and learning from them. Kids have a message for you if you just listen. Grandkids. I love life today. I used to didn't love life. I used to try to take my life. Y'all know about that. I used to try to take my life when I was using in pain and didn't know how to deal with it. Didn't know how to deal with the letdowns and the rejection and the abuse. I couldn't deal with it, but I found a way through the 12-step program. I found a way of working the steps and letting God carry me, because He sure enough carried me. Anybody that know me, I stand on mines with Him. You know, it's a time in my life. I remember when I used to go to meeting, they told me I couldn't sing, I couldn't talk about God, I couldn't do none of that. I remember that. Young, coming into treatment. You can't talk about that. You can't call on God. You can't do, there was a whole bunch of them. And my counselor checked all of them. Said, no. Don't do that. This girl is struggling to stay clean. Don't you do that. He checked them. Because he saw something in me that I yet hadn't found. He saw something in me that I did not know that was still in me. I was hungry to stay alive and not use again. I was never going to use again. I'm never going to use again. I say that every day that I wake up. God, thank you for the day, but I'm not using today. When I get out my bed, that's what I said. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I woke up from last night and I didn't use. And I ain't ready to die. Not for no drugs and alcohol. Boy, I love God because He loved me. Even when I couldn't carry myself, He helped me. Even when I was struggling losing my mother and my son, He carried me, y'all. He took care, just like somebody died in y'all family, just like you know somebody that went through something, and God carried you. You knew it had to be only Him. Because if it had have been filtered my way, I would have done picked up and used and let that be, a reason why I used. Oh, my mother died. I can't handle it. I hear people say it all the time, come to me. When my mother died and then my daughter jumped on me and I couldn't take it no more. Why? So what was you doing? Because, see, I ain't making reservations to use. I'm making reservations to stay alive. I ain't ever going back to that life that I was living. And I was good at it. Good in covering up, good in dressing it up, good in talking my way through, so I paid the price to get here. And I'm going to stay here. I had to talk to somebody about all the wrongs I done. I had to talk it over with God, talk it over with me, talk it over with my friends, talk it over with my other family, because I got a great big family. Narcotics Anonymous family. We all have one situation that's the same. And that is, we are recovering. And I'm not people with 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, 10 months, 30 days, 1 day, just for today, 60 days. That's a good feeling to walk in a place where we all recovering. And then to see the struggles that people are going through in recovery. So don't think because you get clean that you ain't going to have no struggles. Oh, yeah, you're going to probably have more struggles just so Satan, so he can try to pull you in so you can go back to using. But he won't never get me no more. And that's for sure. I'm responsible for making me happy. I'm responsible for having some joy in my life without the drugs and the alcohol. I'm responsible. Ain't nobody else responsible for that. But I'm responsible for my happiness. And drugs and alcohol ain't it. So when we come and we admit it to God, that was something that we should be proud for, because now we open. Okay, God, now you know everything. You knew everything before I even told you. But there it is, God. I'm done. I can't do it no more. You know, I done hit my bottom. You know, my life become unmanageable. You know, I start losing stuff, going from place, start selling my cars, pounding my cars, pounding all my jewelry. You know, everything that I once loved, dope took it away. Alcohol took it away. And now that I got it, and you know the good part about it, you know that hope shot, when they say that hope shot, everything I lost, he tripled it. Everything that I lost, he tripled it. So all that I realized was material things. All that was material things. It was my spiritual part in my soul that I needed to get clean. I needed that. I needed to clean out the closet. I would study dumping clothes, dumping problems, dumping situations in there, study using, dumping stuff, carrying pain every day, using every day, drinking every day, popping pills every day. How did I survive that? And only through God, because I didn't have nothing to do with that. It was only through God. Only through God. So now that I'm clean, yeah, I changed. I changed for the good. I walk up with my head up instead of my head down. Do you know how good that feel to get up out of your trucks or your car and get up and you walk with your head up and it ain't down today? Don't you know how good that feel? No matter what problems came in my life, no matter who hurt me, no matter who tried to destroy me, no matter who talked about me, I still walk with my head up, because guess what? I got a God of my understanding that truly, truly love me. If don't nobody else love me, I know a man up there that loves him some Renee. And for that, I am grateful. For that, I know that God had brought me through the dangerous scene as well as the unseen. I know that. I know that. I've been on my deathbed too many times not to know that. So every day that I wake up, okay, God, what you got planned for us today? What you gonna do for us today? Okay, God, who coming to hurt me today? This is true. This is what I talk to him every time I get up and go through the day. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm never not going to be ready. Because if you're never not going to be ready, then it's going to take you out. It's going to take you right back there. So nothing is ever a surprise to me. Nothing. You know, my daughter, I got a truck, big old nice Pathfinder that God gave me. And then I went and bought an Escape. You know, you my family, so I talked to y'all. And Friday I was having one of them meltdowns, and I was, and I always didn't want her to drive my truck because she drive kind of fast. And she hit somebody head on. And I was in Franklin shopping, and I get that call. But I had just told her 2 weeks, I said, God, I had a dream, Deanna, that I'm going to get a phone call that you going to have an accident. She said, oh, Mama, there go one of your dreams again. I said, I got it. Because he showed it to me. Towed the whole truck up. She said, no, it's okay, but it did knock the axle off. So I pulls up there when I got back to Wisconsin to go see it, and paid cash for it. Paid $5,000 cash that I had put in one of my savings, and paid cash for it. Nice truck. That was my blessing with my name on it. And all of a sudden, oh, he just hit me. He said, no, you crossed over, you hit me, and they was arguing and fussing. And I just clicked the phone off. Breathe, Renee. Breathe. At least she okay. That was the first thing I said. She okay because she talking and screaming and yelling. So she okay. I said, she called me back. Well, he hit me right on. I said, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Where is it at? Get it towed. I'll send you the money, get it towed. It wasn't my fault. I don't want to hear it. Clink. Sometimes in life, we have to pay for our own decisions because I knew better. I knew it was coming. I can't use. I had my other daughter with me that was in a group home. I had her with me, and I couldn't mess up her day because of my day just got shocked. So, I just had to help her. I just, okay, God, you got it, I can't use, She said, you all right, Mom? I said, I'm good. I'm good. Sometimes when you make the decision that you was told that you shouldn't have made, these are the consequences. Consequences. But God is like that with us. When we make decisions that we know we shouldn't have made, or we put ourselves in a situation that we know we shouldn't have put ourselves in, and then we want to get mad because we put ourselves in a situation. I put myself in a situation of many times of getting high. I put myself in many times of snorting and all. I put myself in them situations. So now I don't put myself in them situations. I try not to, y'all. Sometimes it happens, though. Sometimes it happens. But I tell you what, recovery is good. I thank y'all. I'm getting off right now. I went over a little bit. Sometimes I do. Thank y'all, James and Keith and Karma Walker, Mr. Walker. Thank you, Selena, my sister evangelist, Selena Green. Thank you, Miss Cynthia Robertson. I thank everybody. And I even thank the ones that come on in the evening, late at night, early in the morning. I get so many texts, so many. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for letting me come into your life and you be a part of my life in this process. Y'all have a safe week. Do something nice and kind for someone. And if you can't do nothing nice and kind, just tell a person you love them. Because today ain't promised. Talk to you later. Have a safe. See you next Friday if the Lord's will. And nothing happened, we will be on step 6, and we were entirely ready to have God to remove all these defects of characters. That's another favorite one. That's another one of my favorite ones. I'm for real. Another one of my favorite ones. God bless y'all, and be nice and kind to people. Good evening.